Welcome everybody to the weekly shir of the Zera Shimshon. This week I'm doing a little bit early because I realized that nobody's going to be able to listen to this on Shabbos, and it's going to be Sunday, it's going to be Tisha, you can't learn. And Monday's going to be busy doing the clothes and making meals. So anyway, I'm going to share a little bit of Kinos, which he has in the Zera Shimshon in Kinos. It's after... it was actually referring to Echa, but he calls it Kinos. And this is bringing a Midrash Rabbah, a very fascinating and interesting Midrash Rabbah. I won't be able to do the whole thing because it's very long, but I'll give you a taste. It's so beautiful, I can't resist. Okay, so the Midrash, and it's already Wednesday night, which means it's Zion Av, Menachem Av, Tafshin Beis, Pei Beis. It says the Midrash Echa Rabasi. It says, "Al pasuk in Echa Sarasi ba Medinais." I had my princes in the states. My princes are referring to the Jewish people in the non-Jewish states. Okay. Omer Rabbi Maruka Balel Tisha B'Av Nichnas Avram Avinu LeBeis Kodesh HaKadoshim. So the Midrash says on this that on the night of Tisha B'Av, Avram Avinu goes into the Holy of Holies. God takes him by the hand. So he's going back and forth with him, the length and breadth of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So God says to Avram Avinu, what is my beloved friend doing in my house? My master, Bonai, Hechanhem, where are my children? So God says they sinned, and I put them between the Umas Ha'ilam. So there weren't any tzaddikim. You remember Avram Avinu back by Sodom and Amorah, he's looking for at least 10 tzaddikim, he couldn't even find 10. Yes, okay, they did what they conspired to do. You should list at least, looked at the good people. They had bad bad temperaments, we'll call it. The bris mila, you should have at least looked at the bris that they had engraved on their flesh. So I swear to you that they actually denied the bris. Not only that, but they were happy about the downfall of the other Jews. It says, Ki Ra'aschi az ta'aloizu. It's a pasuk in Yirmiyahu. Ra'aschi, my evil, I had joy over. I mean, their evil, I was rejoicing over. So first of all, a lot of kashas on this. So we'll do a few. Kasha. Lama achayza kadosh baruch hu. Why did God take Avram Avinu's hand? I mean, couldn't he just walk with him? Right? And why was he walking with him the length and the width? What's this got to do with anything? Why did Avram ask, where are my children? Didn't he remember what he promised God at the Bris Ben Avisorim? So he said, so Midrash Rabbah, he himself chose, instead of Gehinnom, he chose that they should go into Galus. So what's he asking? Maybe he had a different intention with this question. So what was the answer, the response that God says? They sinned and I put them into Galus, between the nations. He knew that. And he still in all, he asked, where are my children? hayu bahem tzadikim. Then when he asked, weren't there some tzadikim? Hayu loilish lahashiv lahem bahem tzadikim. There were tzadikim. Okay, so why did he not answer that way? Bahu aloshin shel asaisa hamizimasa tenak. What does he mean that he did their conspiracy? And when he went back and asked, okay, why didn't you look at the good people? If there were tzaddikim, surely there was good people. What's the difference between being a tzaddik and being a good person? He shouldn't have responded that there were good people. What does it mean? What does it mean? Their temperament, their type was bad. In other words, and then he went and asked, he should have looked at the Mila. Ma inyan Mila b'kan. What's the bris Mila doing over here? Another schos, okay. Not only that, but God said, they were happy about the downfall of the others. The Tartei Chuvas Lama, what do we need to give two responses for one question? Seif Dover HaMidrash Azeh Kolu, Kulei Makshev Eich Miskashrim HaInyanim Zeh Mezeh. So the whole Midrash is difficult, and there are questions one on another. Yesh Lemer the Isa b'Midrash tell him, it's brought in Midrash tell him, and he brings a pasuk in Eicha, Oimer Chaloisi Hi Shnois Yamin Elyon, Al Yedei Shaloi Asinu Tshuva Nishtani Sayamin Ad Kalashay. So, what does he have to say? I got sick. Halaisihi, I began to get sick. Shanais Yamin Elyon. He changed the right hand of the lofty. So because they didn't do tshuva, the nishtanis, it changed the yamin. The yadua shas small nikres yad stam. The left hand is called yad stam in the Torah. But akshav shayamin nishtanis. So now that the right hand has changed, it's nikres af hu he yad stam. So it's also called yad. Therefore it says that God, he clasped onto his hand and not on his right hand, his hand. Like it should have said Chesed Avraham, so it said that the Chesed is always on the right. So he said the Yamin changed, the right hand changed. But then why is he walking back and forth with him? It's brought in the Midrash. So if you despise me, right? Im me'isa he leis savar, im kitzifa he is savar. So if there's disgust, there's despising of God, so there's a hope. There's no hopes, rather. But if there's kitzifa, there's some kind of jumping, right? There's a possibility of hope. They didn't, they wanted to jump away from what was right and what was positive. Claimer, Hayamara loikol ha'erech af shenisa lahem liyisrael. So he showed them all his erech hapayim, his long suffering, his kindness, and he showed favoritism to the Jews, and they still didn't do tshuva. Afal pikein loichazu b'tshuva. That's what it means, aruches, the lengths. He went to great lengths, as we say in English, to help them. That the hand of God is not short from saving the Jewish people. That he can do it any way he wants, right? So then he said, what are you doing, my beloved, in my house? He said, well, you don't have a place to complain if the house was destroyed, because v'nisraf ha'mikdash, the fisha oil shalitz, my tent. What are you complaining about? The owner of the house could do whatever he wants. He wants to burn it down, he burns it down, right? And then you do what's known, Shak Mikdash Nikra Mishkan. Lefi she'asid dem his mashkein mikaparas avoneseim shel Yisrael. Why is it called a mishkan? Because it's lashon mashkein. It's a guarantee. It's a deposit for something that they're going to do wrong. Okay, so that prevents them from recollecting it. But Chazal in the Gemara in Midrash Eicha Rav again. So Jews really didn't suffer that much as they could have, because God took His anger, as it were, out on the stones and the wood in the temple. It says, He ended His wrath on the wood and the stone, and He made the fire start in the Beis HaMikdash. So now Avram is asking, what do we need 2 kapparas for? You burnt down the Beis HaMikdash, but then you put them in the galus. That's 2 kapparas. So it's sufficient with 1. The im yesh galus kimoisha nigzar bebris ben avasorim. If there will be a galus like you decreed in the Beis ben avasorim, lahayot tzarich leBeis HaMikdash leis mashkin, then the Beis HaMikdash wouldn't have to become a mashkin, wouldn't have to become a guarantee. Elo iskaimu hatzadikim beBeis HaMikdash, and the tzadikim would continue to exist in the Beis HaMikdash. V'yiskayim Beis HaMikdash imayim. The Beis HaMikdash would continue to be with them. The chaytim would go into galus. Yigalami artzam menachalasam. V'im nechra vayis. But if the Beis HaMikdash were destroyed, ein tzarich oid legalus, that we don't need galus anymore. Shekvar nitnu hamashkain, because it was already given back the deposit, the guarantee. Elo yu mishubadim namachi artzos nobalis kaimo be'artzam, and they would be subjected to the kings of the earth and not to be existing in their land, in Eretz Yisrael. So Heishiv LaKadosh Baruch Hu Chato v'Igleisim, they sinned and I put them into galus. Claimer, B'loi galus yavshur. Without galus, it was impossible to get a kapara. Why? Shariheim Chato v'Garmel sheyiplu kama nitzaitza shal kedusha b'toich haklipa. Because without, they sinned and they caused many the nitzaitzis hakdusha, the holy sparks, to descend into the klipas, and therefore im kain hatikun hu. What's the tikun? What's the amendment for this? The reparation. She's pazu ben ha'umais kedei lachzor lelokai nitzaitzis, in order to be in the diaspora, right? Be dispersed amongst the goyim, in order to recollect those holy sparks. Hamuvlayim sham, they were swallowed up there. Lahachzirim el kedusha, and to return them to holiness, like it's brought in the Gemara Pesachim. Klum adam zayreya sela sa ela lahaitzi mimena kama kairim. Does a person not throw the seeds into the ground for 1 saw in order to get back many bushels? Okay, 1 bushel for many bushels. That's what it said in Yeshu Haisheya v'zaratia li ba'aretz shal yedei hagalus mitaisvim v'Yisrael harbe gayer. When they go into galus, they reconnect to many Jews. They're amongst the Umas Ha'olam, they become converts. And that's the fixing, the amendment, the reparation for the pagam that they did. When the pasuk will be fulfilled in Shir Hashirim, Shechayra ani v'noav v'nois Yerushalayim. Okay, have a wonderful Shabbos. Hope everybody gets anah from this piece. If you want to look more, then look at the Zera Shimshon. It goes on for another 2 pages. But this is the Iker, and how Avram Avinu is always looking out for Klal Yisrael, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is giving him responses, what we need to do, what we didn't do. Hakol b'seder, kol tuv zaygabench. And this would be, again, a refuah shlema for Mordechai Gershon ben Sarah, and Aviva ben Bas Rezel, and Avram. A few other cholim that I have on my list. Okay, everybody should have a refuah shlema.